Hi, Jenny.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I don't think we've ever met. What office are you part of?
Yeah, I'm new. I'm in Westchester. I'm part of the Gifford team.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Oh, you were on. I don't think you had your video on Tuesday, but I remember your name.
correct. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So while we kind of wait for people to pop on for the next couple minutes, is there? Okay.
It's my dog. She's a little Yorkie and she has this treat and she thinks I'm
Oh.
trying to get it from her. So she is like mad at me. Calm down,
That's
girlfriend.
funny. Is there anything specific you were looking to get out of today's session? Are there any like tools that you want like some more information on?
I'm just gonna say no because I'm probably gonna have to mute. But I'm pretty good. Like
Okay.
the team is helping me out, get acclimated, but thank you.
Perfect.
But if I need something, I know who to go to.
Exactly. If you can't unmute yourself later, feel free to use the chat if you have any questions.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Gotta calm her down.
Morning, Sam.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Is there anything specific, any questions you have? Anything you'd want to cover today?
So I did the training with Amanda yesterday afternoon, and then I had with the Northern Kentucky area realtors 2-hour whatever.
Okay.
So I'm not right now. Just keep talking
Okay.
about the stuff, and I'm assembling all this stuff so I can move forward quickly now, I think.
Perfect. So yeah, some of what we'll talk about today will probably be review from Amanda's tech orientation.
Well, that's good because that was a lot and it was really
Yeah.
fast.
It is. Robbie, Michael, welcome.
Hello.
Do either of you have anything specific you'd want to cover or any questions for today?
Nope, not for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, sounds good. We'll wait a couple minutes while people filter in. Hey, Courtney.
I mean, maybe Robbie's setting up the personal website is, it's got a lot of steps. And I know that
Mhm.
the guide's there, but that's kind of a big thing too.
Okay, yeah. We can touch on that. We'll give it one more minute, see if anyone else joins, then we'll go ahead and get started.
Good morning.
Morning, Courtney. Is there anything specific you're looking, any questions you have for today's session?
I don't have anything specific, just I feel like I have everything to learn and gain, so.
All right. All right, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure we'll have a couple people filtering in. So if at any point you have any questions, as always, feel free to interrupt me or put it in the chat box. It will be a lot of screen sharing again today. So at the end, we'll have time for Q&A and I'll answer questions as we're going through. So today's session, again, it's part of Module 1, the agent apps and tools. So we're going to be talking a little bit about some scripts and the Ignite script book that you have access to, and then as well as some of the command tools that exist to kind of help you systematize and stay top of mind with your database. And if you choose to be contacting FSBOs or expireds, how you can be staying top of mind with those as well. So whatever your source of leads or however you want to be having conversations, Command has tools to help you track that. Sorry, I'm just keeping attendance. So if I pause, that's what's happening. That way I make sure everyone gets the recording. It will be recording. It'll be sent out with any resources that I mentioned throughout will be sent in an email this afternoon as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to move into Command. And so the first thing is kind of just a system for staying in touch with your people. So if that's your database, if that's FSBOs, if that's expireds. And so the best way to do that is by implementing a touch plan. So if you've heard of a 36 touch before, throughout a 12-month period, then your people should be hearing from you 36 times. And so that can be a combination of phone calls. It could be in-person events. So Courtney, I know you guys, the Barron Group is big on events and has been really able to pivot with COVID into social distancing. So there's different, Jenny, the Giver team you guys just did a big like client appreciation, like pumpkin giveaway. So there's ways that you can do that as well, like in-person events, and a lot of your marketing, if you're not comfortable just reaching out and asking for business, that's a really easy way to be staying in contact with your people. You can use the holiday season that we're coming into. There's a lot there with Thanksgiving, with Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever people celebrate, with the new year, with goal setting. This is a perfect time to be kind of creating a touch plan because there's so much that you can be utilizing that doesn't require a lot of time or money or effort because of the tools through Command. So the first thing I want to show you guys is just the SmartPlan library. And if you've been on trainings before, we've talked about this. If you've taken tech orientation, you've talked about this. And so if you're not using your SmartPlans, it's a really effective and easy and inexpensive way to just be automating conversations and automating touches out to your database. And so if you come into the SmartPlans library and say you're sitting down, you want to create a 36 touch plan, the first thing you can do is just come into the SmartPlan library and see if one already exists that you can use. So if you just search for it, all of the options will come up after Command thinks for a second. So there's a bunch of different options. So there's for referral agent partners. So if you're someone that has a large sphere of influence outside of the area that you're wanting to do business, it could be other states, it could be other cities, it could be like friends, family, coworkers, whatever it is. You have this option. You have 36 touch for sellers. You have, I think that's supposed to say annual. Oh, that's in Spanish. So maybe not that one, unless you're fluent. And then you have just a bunch. So these can be specific, like this one seems specific to their location. And you can just see like these are all free. So say you wanted to be targeting sellers. So you can click view steps and it's going to tell you like how many steps it is, how many touches there are, and how long the plan is. And then you can just be repeating this. So obviously 9 touches is not a 36 touch, but you can just repeat that every quarter, or however long it needs to in order to create your 36 touch plan. And so these tasks can be around something specific. So if you're doing an event, if you want to like drop something off for the holiday season, you can do that. You could just be calling, sending an email, sending a text. All of these things could be interacting around any specific thing you want. We're going to the new year. Maybe you want to do a whole plan about New Year's resolutions and your business goals. And then when we get into the new year, there's a whole new set of holidays. You have Valentine's Day, you have St. Patrick's Day, you have all of these different touches that you can be creating with these simple things. So if you wanted to add this smart plan, just click add smart plan. You can rename it if you want, or you can keep it the same name. And when you download it, it's going to go into your personal library. So here at the top of the page, you have My Smart Plans and then the library. The library is everything in Keller Williams. So anyone can publish a smart plan for people to look at. And you can see here how many people are using it. You can see if anyone has rated it. And you can see how long it lasts. This is going to be a number of days and the duration, how many steps there are, and how many touches. So if you saw on here, this one has 18 steps, but not all 18 of them are a task. So you have a phone call, an email, and then there's a delay. So you don't want to be sending 36 emails in 36 days. You want to have it spread out. And so with creating the smart plan, you can add in a delay. So that way the system knows to wait however many days you specify until the next touch comes out. And so then if you want to be creating your own smart plan, up here on the top right, you have the option to create. And so you can make this whatever you want. Let's say we want to do a, we're going to send holiday cards this year. And so if you're new and you don't have your database like fully uploaded or fully like fleshed out, this is a great way to kind of get more contact information. So a holiday card is something most people are not going to say no. Like if you call someone and you only have their phone number or you only have their email and you want to say like, hey, 2020 hasn't been like my favorite year. Like I want to stay in contact and send a holiday card out. Like people love getting personal mail. People love exchanging holiday cards. This is something that you can do fairly inexpensively, and it could have an impact. You could brand it for yourself if you want. You could choose not to brand it. You could just go to like Walmart or Target and get like the bulk cards that are going to be, or Amazon, more inexpensive than like custom printing. So we're going to say the first step. So over here on the right hand side are all of the like tasks that you can be adding. And so the first one we're going to call, we want to call everyone because we might not have an address for them. So this is going to be due today. And so this is going to be call. And then over here is the merge fields. So what these are doing is when you enter a contact, these are all of the fields that you can be entering. And so if you click these merge fields, when you get the task reminder, it's going to say call Robbie Allen, not just call contact. That way you have a specific list of people that you can be calling. And you can even put in your little script here as a reminder if you want to. So just calling you, this could be a voicemail script as well. Just calling to get addresses for my holiday cards. But you don't even necessarily have to know that it's for business. If you haven't already told everyone that you're in real estate, this would also be a great opportunity to be having that conversation. And so this is the call. So you make a call, you get the address. So then after you have the conversation, then you might want to remind yourself to update contact info with address. So this task it's just going to pop up in command. It'll send you an email saying you have tasks due today. This is a non-touch. So this is just a reminder for you specifically to update contact info that you're getting from these conversations. You could even have command open while you're making the calls if you wanted to. So then there's going to be might then set a delay. And so if you call someone, you get their address, you update their contact in command. If you start this now, it might be like a 10-day delay. And then you're going to create a task. And the task is going to be a non-touch. And this is going to be right. Again, you can put a specific contact in if you only want to do so many of these at a time. And you can be setting these delays based on your schedule. So if you're part-time in real estate, if you know you have certain things, like if you have a lot of family activities coming up with Thanksgiving, you might want to make sure this is either before or after. So this delay, you can have a maximum of a 30-day delay. But what this is going to do is this is going to just tell the system after this amount of days, they need to get another reminder. And that can be the end of the smart plan. So a smart plan can be as simple as that. All it's doing is reminding you to call someone, ask for something specific, and then you can be updating based on what you're getting and then creating the task afterwards. This could be also, if you don't want to send holiday cards, if you just need to be calling your database and telling everyone you know that you're in real estate, you could use the same exact thing. It could be call the contact, your little like script or reminder to yourself could be like tell them I'm in real estate and ask for a referral. Then it could be you could still use the same thing, update the contact info. If you don't have a full amount of contact info in your database, you can update that. And then you could set a delay, and then you could send a text, or you could send a note in the mail. Like, it was great to connect with you. I'm super excited to have your support as I start a new career. If you think of anyone that's looking to buy or sell, here's my business card. Feel free to pass it along and connect me, and I'd be happy to help them. Most people that you're going to be talking to, if you're asking or calling your database, most of them are not going to be buying or selling right now, but they might know someone who is. So you want to make sure that you are kind of just setting the tone for those referrals. Like, I would love to do business with you. If you know anyone looking, like, I'd be happy to service them as well. So this can be whatever you want as far as content. So once you have that, you can save it. And then you want to go back into your contacts to actually add this to a contact. So the smart plan, once you create it or once you add it to your library, it just exists, but it's not actually going to be running in the background until it's actually applied to your contacts. And so this is going to be kind of just the database of all of the contacts that exist in Command. If you don't have any yet, you have the option of adding them manually or importing. With the recording, I will send out the specific spreadsheet that you can use. So if you've been tracking your database just on a regular Excel or Google Sheet, you want to transfer it over to the format that the exact import spreadsheet that will put it into Command. There's just specific tabs, specific columns, and labels that need to be used, and it's easier if you use this one. So I'm going to use myself as the example. So up here, I'm going to search, click the contact, And then in the contact, it's going to have all the information. So if this contact health score, if it's in the green, that's pretty good. So that means I have a name, email, and phone number. If I wanted to get it higher, I would need an address, and I would need some more information to get this higher up. But for right now, there's a lot that I can do with just an email and a phone number. If I want to be adding the Smart Plan, I go to the Smart Plan tab over here. And then these are going to be all of the Smart Plans that I have in my library. So I can be picking any of these to add. You can have more than one Smart Plan per person. And so if you have, say you have 500, well, let's start with 100. Say you have 100 people in your database, you probably don't want to be doing 100 calls at a time. And so what you can be doing is you can be staggering this start date. You could start it now, or you could select the date. So say with holiday cards, I'm probably not going to send them out right away. So maybe I want to start this Wednesday. So this is going to start it. No matter what, you're going to get this Twilio thing. So Twilio is a way to be sending text messages automatically. You do have to create a Twilio account. You have to add it to command, and you have to pay a monthly amount based on the number of texts you expect to send out. So I will send kind of just like a little how-to if you want to set up Twilio with the recording and the resources. You do not have to. If you don't have Twilio set up and the Smart Plan that you're using has a text in here, what it'll do is it'll send you a reminder as a task with the text script. So you can use your phone, you could use Google Voice. If you're using any other texting or like messaging, you could even use like Facebook or Instagram Messenger, whatever you want to use. It does not have to be Twilio. So if you confirm it, it's now in here. So this is going to start on the date that I selected. So it shows that I added it today. And in this specific case, the Smart Plan is not going to start until the 11th. If I wanted to add multiple, so say I have a conversation with this person, I tell them that I'm getting into real estate, I'm super excited, and they say in 30 days, I'm thinking I might be ready to have 30 days, that's a bad example. In 3 months, I'll probably be ready, or I want to sell my house in the spring. So in that case, you might want to get them on like a seller touch plan. And so you could have one start immediately. And this is going to be all the touches. Again, we saw that with the previous one. And then it's going to show up. So this person now has multiple Smart Plans attached to their contact. And if you go to the timeline, it's going to show you everything that's happening. So when emails are going out, they'll show up here. When if you have Twilio, when your Twilio texts are going out, it'll show up here. The responses will show up in this timeline as well. If you have something like a one-off and you just want a task, so I'm going to put a task for today to say, we're going to say that you had a conversation with this person and in the next 30, 45 days, they might be looking to buy. So I want to, instead of like stopping what I'm doing and going in and doing something right away, since I'm already in command, I want to continue with my phone calls. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a really quick task for myself, and I'm going to make a message to create an MLS portal for this person. So then if I go back home, say I finish my calls, finish my texts, I finish my social media touches, whatever I'm doing, then I can go back into my tasks, and on the home page of command, it's going to show up that I have a task due. So what I can do, I save it for the end, I finish all of my contacts, then I come in, I go into the MLS, I create the MLS portal, I check it off, I completed the task. So now it's no longer showing up here, and I can use this as a to-do list every single day if I want to. So that's a quick overview of just subscribing and adding people to a smart plan. Before I move into how to like be creating custom emails and designs, does anyone have any questions on that piece of it?
I have a question about Twilio. Are you able to send like a mass text to like 100 different people, but not in a way where it's like a group chat?
Yeah, so the way Twilio works is through the smart plan. So if you just had one specific text that you wanted to send to everyone in your database, you could set that up as a smart plan like we did with like the holiday card. So it could literally just be one step. It would just be SMS text message. Then you would type in the smart plan, what you wanted the text to say, and then you could apply that smart plan to everyone, set the start date, and then Twilio would send it out on your behalf. So the benefit of using Twilio versus like your phone or some of the other messaging is it's going to be individual texts, just like Maggie was asking. And then it's going to keep them separately as different conversations. So that way you can be kind of texting back and forth. I would, with Twilio, you're not going to be able to use, you can use a local number, so a local area code to wherever you are. What you cannot do is like necessarily customize the number. So you're not going to be able to have your Twilio account the same phone number as your cell phone. So I would never just out of the blue send a text through Twilio. If it's people that you know. So if you're having conversations, if you set up your Twilio account, use that like in your email signature or use that in your conversations and say, reference it as like a business number. That way they don't think it's spam, especially right now, like just coming through the election time, like people have been getting tons and tons and tons of like text messages. So with Twilio, I would just make sure that it's not the first touch that you're using with your database. That way it doesn't, they know it's you and they know it's not spam.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So then we're going to go into the design section. And if you're familiar with Canva or if you've used any like tools similar to that before, this is kind of a lighter version. It's going to have a lot of templates pre-created that you can plug into emails, you can post on social media. If you have a design background or if you're a graphic designer or you are just someone who is like good at using like Canva or similar systems, this is not going to be impressive, which I don't want to say it's not a good tool. It's just if the best way to be using this is to be using the pre-made designs, because if you're making something from scratch, the editing tools are just not to the level that you would get in some of the other systems. So up here at the top, it's going to show you all of the different things that you can create. So you can be creating emails, landing pages, social designs, you can create print marketing, you can be designing pages on your agent site, or you can be creating a video. So we're going to, I'm going to show you a social media post. So these are ones that I've designed before, just kind of as templates. So you can be reusing your templates, or you can create a new one with this add button in the bottom right, select what type of design you want to be creating, and then it's going to load all of the templates that are already preset in the system. So every template is going to allow you to edit some of the content. So you can change the logo, you can put a headshot on, you can change some of the wording, but the graphics themselves are going to be preset and the layout and everything. So if you're not someone who enjoys designing things, you don't feel like that's in your skill set, these are all the options that exist for you. So there's different categories with your consumer app. You can be using any of these designs. Listings, if you have listings, there's all of these options. It's going to connect to KWLS, so that way you can be pulling the specific listing information in. So like these are just the templates, but if you're connecting your specific listing, all of these images could be switched out for the photos that you're using. They have buyer ones as well. So with Keller Mortgage, if you're promoting that, you can be designing a buyer presentation. So if you don't have a like consultation guide, you can use any of these as your starting point. And then there's also lead generation. So we're talking about holidays, so we're just going to continue with that theme and see like all of the holiday images that they have. And so obviously this is going to be based on what's coming up. So the next one is Veterans Day. So that's next week. If you want to be doing a Veterans Day post and you don't want to create it from scratch, you can use any of these graphics. You can attach a logo like you see here. And then we just passed daylight savings. So these will be updated in the next week or so. You're going to start seeing Thanksgiving designs. You'll start seeing all of the December holiday designs. New Year's will start popping up. So if you want to be generating content, I would recommend checking in on these on a regular basis. And it's going to be, these are going to be formatted based on how you want to be using it. So the graphic you would use on your story might not be the same as you would use on Instagram, which is going to be more of a square, versus Facebook, which can be more of a rectangular design. So yes, so JJ was asking about creating a mailing campaign. Right now, the biggest struggle with designs is like if you are printing something, the design is not going to, when you download it or export it, it's not going to be formatted correctly to line up with printing, unfortunately. So that is something that they are aware of as an issue and that they're fixing. So right now with designs, I think your best bet is to be using the email designs or the social media designs. They also have some video options. The print marketing, if you are looking for ideas, is a great starting point, but you are going to have to resize it in Command. Someone I was working with last week, they were doing kind of like an open house brochure. We had to resize it in Canva in order for it to print correctly. So unfortunately, that is a challenge. Yeah, so if you have Canva, if you have a Canva account, if you're doing print marketing, for right now, it might just make more sense and save you some time to be designing that through Canva itself. There is a free version of Canva, so I'll send that out if you're not familiar with the system. I definitely recommend that. It's super helpful just to like create quick content, whether you're designing postcards, if you want to have social media posts. That's a really great resource as well. And you don't have to be a design expert to use the system. So I'm just going to show you really quick how you could edit these designs, and then you can schedule a post onto your account. So obviously right now we have some time. Veterans Day is next week. So whenever you know that you're going to have time, you can work on this. You can save it as a template, and then you can schedule it to post on your behalf. So with this one, there's not a whole lot I want to change. If I wanted to, I could add a text box. These are things that kind of are banners. These are like graphics that exist. If I just want to be using a blank text box, I can just drag it over and select all of this text, get rid of it. So then I can type so whatever you would want to text or whatever you would want to write. You can change the sizing, you can change the font. All of these are going to be up here. I'm not going to make this look good, but you have a lot of options just so to show as an example. You can make it bigger. You can resize this text box so that you can put it wherever you want. This logo is going to, like, it's going to show up with like your office name. So if you're at Advisors, Associate Partners, or Advantage, but if you wanted to use the logos that you already have in here, you go to Images, go to My Assets. These are going to be things that you have uploaded. If you want to do a headshot, you could do that. Logos, these are going to be the logos that you have uploaded in the system. If you have not uploaded anything, you have the option of adding. So obviously this is not a great example because it has a white background, but I'll send out the like how to download your logos again with this recap if you didn't receive that from one of the previous ones. So you have access to the full logo set. So again, this obviously is not a great aesthetic, but just so you see how some of the editing tools work. Then once you're done editing, say this is exactly how you want it, you have the option to download it or you can share it. So if you want to share it, then it's going to pull up the different options for sharing this design. So you could post it directly to your social media if you wanted to, or you could just download it and save as an image or a PDF and just save it in your files on your computer and Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever you use, so that way you know to post it later on. We're not going to save that because it's not cute. So that's quickly an overview of designs. I will send out a more in-depth like design tutorial from David Moyer. He teaches the command classes every Tuesday at noon. So there's a bunch of different topics that he covers on a weekly basis. And there's a whole YouTube playlist that I'll send out. So if there's anything specific to command that you're looking, he's teaching those on a regular basis. And as new features and new updates come out, those will be updated. So pay attention to the dates. If it's like a month old, there might be a new feature. So if you have any questions on any of the command features, let myself, Amanda, or David know. We're all here as resources for helping you with the command system. So going back really quickly, just kind of circling back to some of the like lead generation activities. So in the 36 touch, if you saw on there, one of the items was phone calls. And so there's a system for like kind of tracking and like staying in touch with your database on a quarterly basis. So if you've heard of DTD2 or whether you have or not, doesn't matter. It's called Doing the Database. And the number 2 is because they combine 2 letters of the alphabet every single week. So every week it's going to be scheduled. So that way you have a list of people to call in your database based on the letter of their last name. And you can be doing this in anything. So if you have a holiday touch coming up that you want to be promoting, or if you have a listing that you want to be telling people about, if you are just calling to tell everyone that you're in real estate and ask for their referrals, then you have that systematized, because if you sit down and just look at your database, it's going to be overwhelming. So no matter how many people you have on your list, you're unlikely to want to call all of them in one day. If you do that, most people aren't going to be able to repeat that on a regular basis. So the DTD2 schedule just helps you stay in contact. So everyone can receive a call 4 times a year. And what you say in that call can change based on like the time of year you're calling or the reason you're calling, but the schedule can just be existing in the background. In the same way that we did the smart plan, you can be creating a smart plan for the DTD2. So how you would want to track that is through tags. And what you can do is you can tag your contacts individually, or you can use bulk tags. So depending on the size of your database, you might have to do this a couple times. Right now, bulk tags only work up to 500 people. So if you're someone who has a huge amount of people in your database, you might have to do this a couple times. But what you can do is you can be filtering by all of these different options. So say the first week of DTD2, which I'll send out the schedule and just kind of like a little bit more information with the recap. The first week of it is A and W. So if you wanted to be searching your contacts, you can filter it. So if you're looking for the tags, if it already exists, you can filter by that tag. If not, you just want to search by A. You can do first or last name. The DTD2 is by last name. And it's going to pull up. If it's easier, you can do first name, you can do last name. It really does not matter. However way you want to be sorting it. And then, unfortunately, as you can see, it's pulling everyone that has an A anywhere in their last name. So if you wanted to sort without doing this, you could also just sort your database and do bulk tags. So we're just going to do a couple of these so I can show you. Select bulk action. So right here in the middle, you can add a note to all of these people. You can send a bulk SMS text message. You can add them to a specific email list. You can make a copy, share, whatever you want to do. In this case, I want to add a bulk tag. So this is going to be everything that already exists in this dropdown, or you can be creating a new tag. So if this doesn't already exist, you could just hit create custom tag. You can make it a specific color if you want. You can just leave it white. It doesn't matter. So now all of the people that I selected are now tagged A and W for my DTD2. So then if I want to filter, say I want to start making my calls, I then want to filter by my A and W tag. And then these are all the people that I need to call in my A and W week. Obviously, you will likely have more than that. But then as you're adding a new person in to your contacts, you can be adding a tag as well. So if you want to clear your filters, just to search. So I'm going to pull myself up as the example again. And show you on a per contact basis how you can be applying tags to then pull. So in the contact page, remember before, this is a different version of myself, I guess. But in this case, my contact score is 92%. So you can see I have a phone number, I have an email, I have a neighborhood in there. I have all of these different resources. I'm subscribed to SmartPlans. I have a saved search. There's a lot happening. So that has created a much higher contact score. And then right here in the middle of this contact page, you have the different tags. And what I can be doing if I wanted to add or change tags, I also have a birthday. I can edit the contact. I can be adding different information, and I can change the tags. So other tags I might want to use are like if I am creating my holiday cards list. We'll go back to that example. So I know I want to be sending a holiday card to this person. So then what I can do is I can pull everyone in my database that I tagged holiday card, and then I can be creating the mailing labels for the envelopes. I can export them out of command and then create the label and print the labels. So that way you don't have to handwrite all of your cards if you don't want to. So that's another way you can be utilizing tags. If you saw on the bulk action, you could be tagging people by neighborhood. So I have a neighborhood smart plan. So for Kennedy Heights, if I have a listing or if someone in my office has a listing that I want to be promoting in that neighborhood, I can pull a list of everyone that's tagged in that neighborhood and say, hey, this house just came for sale in your neighborhood. Do you know anyone looking to move into that specific neighborhood? You could do that as an email campaign or as a text or as a call campaign, whatever you wanted to do. So there's a lot of options with the tags, with your smart plans. The last thing I'll show with command, and then we'll switch to scripts really quick, is this neighborhood search. So in this case, you can see that there's a primary and a secondary neighborhood. My example is I have family that lives in Montana, and at some point I might be interested in buying a vacation or secondary home there. So this is the area where they live. So you could have someone who in your database that lives in a different area than you that you could use this as well, or someone who might be looking to buy or move to another area. If you have people in your database that might be looking to retire and move or downsize to kind of their dream location or whatever it is, if they're looking to buy a vacation home, you can add whatever neighborhood in whatever part of the country that you want. And then what you can do is you can then be creating a saved search for them. So you can see here, I created a saved search for myself based on where I am. So it's going to ask allow or block. In this case, it doesn't matter. I can say allow, but I'm not going to be using it here necessarily. So you have the option to search by zip code or neighborhood. Depending on where you are and how familiar you are with the area, it is going to vary. In this case, I'm going to do neighborhood, and then you can click find on map. So if you're not sure what the neighborhoods are, this is tied to Nextdoor. So how Nextdoor categorizes neighborhoods might be different than how like Google or MLS are. So if you scroll in here, I'm in Cincinnati, and so all the green boundaries are what they're considering the neighborhood boundaries. So say I really want to buy, I have someone who wants to buy in Madisonville. So I'm going to select Madisonville. I'm going to title the safe search. It's going to, you can pick which email it's going to, and you can say yes or no to email and notifications. And if you say yes, then it's going to ask you how often you want to be sending it. So if this is someone who is very active as a buyer, you can do instant. So within 30 minutes of a listing going active, it'll send it to them. If this is someone who just kind of wants to stay up to date on what's happening in their area or an area they would be interested in buying, you might want to do weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. The same with like someone who would be looking at like vacation homes, or might just like another touch you could do as a side note, like if you're calling your database and you don't really want to know like, hey, I'm in real estate, like I have access to really awesome tools through Keller Williams. Like if you could move anywhere in the country, where would it be? Would you be interested in seeing like what that market looks like? Like I can send you a market snapshot, and most people will be like, sure, like that's kind of cool. Why not? That's something you could do, just be getting people into your database and getting in connection with them. Just for example, we're going to use weekly. And then I can go in and edit and put in the actual criteria. So if it's someone local, very likely you're going to have them on an MLS portal. So this would act as a secondary kind of portal for them, but you're not likely going to have someone on an MLS portal that's not currently looking to buy. So this saved search through command is a way to just kind of keep it in the background for people who aren't like super motivated to buy right now, or their timeline's a little bit longer. So maybe in the next year they're looking to buy and they want to just keep an eye on a bunch of different neighborhoods in the city and they don't know exactly where they want to be. You can have multiple neighborhoods. So this is, if you're not in Cincinnati, these might not make sense, but if you're in Cincinnati, like you could just put kind of the surrounding area. So maybe they want to track a couple different areas because they aren't exactly sure where they want to be. So you could have all of these and they can just on a regular basis be looking and comparing the markets. And then when they're ready to buy, they can be like, well, I really liked what I saw in Pleasant Ridge. So that's where I want to focus my home search on. You can put price, keywords, property type, beds, baths, year build, square footage, has parking. The other thing you can do with this open house only is every single week you can be sending your buyers a list of homes that are having open houses that weekend. So you could set this on every Friday, your clients get an email through this market snapshot that says a full list of all the open houses in the area that they're looking. You could also do that just for price reductions. Say like you have someone who is kind of on the border, if they really want to be in an area where it's going to be right at like the entry level price is what their budget is, you could just do price reductions to be keeping track of homes that maybe got reduced into what would fit their budget. So I'm just going to enter some quick criteria, for example. And then again, it's going to set the notifications of how often, and you're going to resave it. And then if you want to go in and see what it looks like, so it's weekly, it hasn't started yet, but you can see an example of one that does get sent out on a weekly basis. You can toggle between if you have multiple, and you can click this preview link to see what it looks like when this is actually sent out to your database. So it's going to show all of the homes, all the contact information, or I'm sorry, all the like criteria, the address, it has beds, baths. You can click into the listing to get more information, get the full photo slideshow. And if they are commenting or interacting with this listing, it's going to notify you. So if I save, so this is an example, like I'm not able to because this is just a preview, but if your client saves this or they click schedule tour or ask a question and make a comment, all of that activity is going to be sent back to you. So that way you get notified and you can then check in. Like, hey, I saw you just saved 123 Main Street from your search. Like, is there any more information you're looking for? Would you like to schedule a showing? Obviously, if it's a vacation home or if this is somewhere in an area that you don't serve, then that could prompt you to then reach out and look for an agent to refer that business to, and then you can collect a referral off the commission when the property closes. So that's just the example of what this is going to look like when it's sent out to them. This 1 second. Just gonna close out from that and go back into my command. And so see here how I opened it. It creates notes in this timeline. So it's set up to be a monthly email. So it says on October 24th, my monthly email was sent out. And then this is showing that the search was updated. So if I had commented, if I had saved it, that would show up in this activity timeline as well. And then I could create a note for what the search was. So this is not necessarily realistic criteria, but just for example, just some of the, whatever you want to do, just a note for yourself. You can be creating notes to be tracking that information. And that can be, this is for anything. So if you're having a conversation with someone and you want to remember it, if you're not a pen and paper person or you're afraid of losing it or not remembering whatever it is, you can be creating these notes, and the notes are going to show up in the timeline as well. So you can just be scrolling through here. And this goes from the beginning of when you created the contact to now. So this is just going to have a full history of all the activity with this person listed. So that's kind of quick overviews. Again, I'll send out more specific tutorials with some of these activities that we talked about today. Before we switch to just an overview of some of the scripts in the script book, are there any questions on any of the command stuff that's been covered so far? All right. So I'm going to stop screen share and just kind of finish it out with the Ignite script book. So a lot of you have probably interacted with this or seen this or have been on trainings where we've talked about it before. But a script is, a lot of times people hear a script, they think that doesn't sound like me when they read through it. It doesn't sound natural. It doesn't feel natural. And the whole purpose of using a script is so that way you can be, you know exactly what you're going to say and when you want to say it. So that way you can actually be listening in the moment to what someone says. So if you are calling your database, I would write out exactly what you want to say and accomplish in the phone call or in the text or in the social media message, whatever it is. And that way you can just have that as a reference. If you start talking to someone and they pull you off track or it goes down like talking about the kids or work or whatever it is, before you wrap up the call, you can just glance back into your little checklist or your script and say, did I cover everything? Great. And then you can hang up and move on to the next. So the Ignite script book, which I will attach to the recap as well, and it is in the Google Drive for the resources, is going to have scripts for pretty much any situation. It's going to have FSBO scripts, it's going to have expired scripts, it's going to have note card scripts that you can be sending note cards or thank you cards or announcements to your database that, hey, I'm in real estate. All of that exists as an example for you. So you can be taking what you like from different scripts and combining it into something. But the whole purpose is just to get comfortable having conversations with your database, having conversations with people you meet at the grocery store or at open houses or at if you are calling FSBOs for sale by owners, or if you want to call expired listings. All of these exist as a resource and something to fall back on as kind of a safety net if you're uncomfortable or don't know what to say or don't know what you want to say. So just a quick commercial for the binders. If you have not, if you want a physical binder of resources that line up with these new agent training modules, all of the offices have physical copies. If you have not received one, feel free to ask. You can reach out to me and I can make sure there's one available. Or if you're in the office, you can just ask at Advantage, you can ask Lisa. At Associate Partners, you can ask Vana. At Advisors, you can ask Nancy. They all have them available to you. And we'll just be sending out the resources as we update them. So we're adding more and more things to the binders and to the Google Drive. So the Drive has a few more things, like the script book is like 90 to 100 pages. So we didn't print the entire script book for the binder. We just have some of the most common scripts there. So I'll make sure I send out the link to the drive in the recap, as well as all the resources we talked about. If you have any questions before we wrap up, feel free to ask now. If not, you can ask through recap email or reach out to me directly either way. So before we leave, does anyone have any questions, anything that they were hoping to get out of today that I didn't mention? Sam, you talked about the agent site, so we can connect if you're having issues there. I can help you walk through that if you need any additional help on that. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. Our new agent training continues next week with buyer conversations and best practices. So we're going to talk about setting expectations for the buying process, how to have conversations with your database to identify motivation and see how and when people might be interested in buying, and then just getting them through the process. So after the new agent training module at 10, at 11, we have Matt Flieger with NRL Mortgage to kind of give like a overview of the lending process. So everything you as an agent need to know to kind of set the example for your clients. He'll be available. He's just going to give some information about different loan types, different things that they're going to be asking from your clients to get them through the loan process, and he'll be available for questions. So no matter who you use as a lender, if you have a preferred lender that's not Matt, that's fine. You can still come on the call and just ask any questions you might have, or just get the information about kind of just from start to finish. This is everything you need to know as an agent about the mortgage process. So we'll send more details out as a reminder next week. But I hope you all have a good weekend. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you all Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you.